instead of trying to control our shadow by trying to eliminate it when it surfaces, I recommend channeling it through healthy means. Then you will feel no need to control it out of fear it may sabotage you or your relationships. I will list some ways in which to heal from our shadow as follows. We must work hard at self-acceptance. Negative self-talk is a composite of the shadow at play and so must be tamed. According to John Bradshaw, part of the work of self-acceptance involves the integration of our shame-bound feelings, needs, and wants. Most shame-based people feel ashamed when they feel angry, sad, fearful, and when they are sexual or assertive. The voice basically tells a shame-based person that they are unlovable, worthless, ugly, and bad. The voice supports the bad child image. The voice may be experienced consciously as a thought. Most often, it is partially conscious or totally unconscious. Most of us are aware of the habitual activity of the voice. We become aware of it in certain situations of exposure when our shame is activated. After making a mistake, one might call oneself an idiot. Various researchers refer to these self-deprecating voices differently. Eric Berney referred to it as a set of parental recordings that are like cassette tapes. Some have estimated that there are 25,000 hours of these tapes in a normal person's head. Fritz Perls and the Gestalt school call these voices introjected parental voices. Aaron Beck calls them automatic thoughts. Whatever you call them, all of us have some negative talk voices in our heads. How do we work through these negative thoughts to a more gentle, understanding self-acceptance of ourselves? First, recognize and perhaps verbalize what the negative thoughts are that are holding you back. Robert Firestone writes that the process of formulating and verbalizing negative thoughts acts to lessen the destructive effect of the voice on the patient's behavior. Another solution is to undergo voice therapy, where patients are taught to externalize their inner critical thoughts. By so doing, they expose their self-attacks and ultimately develop ways to change their negative attitude into a more objective, non-judgmental view. As the voice is externalized through verbalization, intense feelings are released, and the words and intent behind those words, such as self-sabotage, are exposed and lose their power over you. John Bradshaw also recommends keeping an overreaction diary. This process will test the triggering of the obsessive critical voice. It involves keeping a diary of your defense overreactions to track what behaviors or words from others trigger you into reacting. It is best done when you are involved in some kind of feedback share group where you are actively receiving criticism or feedback from others. Bradshaw also recommends answering the voice. Once you've expressed the voice, you can start answering the voice. You challenge both the content and what dictates the voice. You can answer both emotionally and logically. You can take action by consciously not complying with the voice or by directly going against it. Track down the inner critic. An inner self-critical dialogue goes on in all shame-based people. This game has been called the self-torture game. It is almost always so habitual that it is unconscious. I recommend looking into the role-playing critic and receiver dialogue exercise from the book Awareness by John O. Stevens. You silently criticize the image of yourself as if you were talking to another person. Then you become this image of yourself and answer these criticisms. Then switch roles to become the critic again. you will experience some conflict between the critical, authoritative part of you that demands you change and another, less powerful part of you that apologizes and makes excuses. It is as though you are divided into a parent and a child. The parent, or top dog, always trying to get control to change you into something better. And the child, or underdog, continually evading these attempts to change. As you listened to the voice that criticized and made demands on you, you may have recognized that it sounded like one of your parents. Or it might sound like someone else in your life. As we've explored, you may connect with negative self-talk through verbalizing it, journaling, voice therapy, and role-playing with the critic and criticism receiver. Since this critical voice is usually activated in any situation of vulnerability or exposure in our day-to-day lives, it is important to know how to wrestle with it so it doesn't prevent us from reaching our full potential. The final step is to take these generalizations and make positive statements that contradict them. For example, instead of saying, "I am an idiot," say, "I am competent." By translating generalizations into concrete, specific behaviors like, "You cannot be an idiot because you received straight A's in high school," you can see a real picture of yourself and accept yourself in a more balanced and integrated way. The aim of meeting the shadow is to develop an ongoing relationship with it. So we are not threatened, scared, or ashamed of it, but rather to expand our sense of self